Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fury Boys Racing channel. I'm John, and this is my hill climb sprint car. We are feverishly working to get ready for the Pocono Shootout that is coming up next weekend for at least at the time of this recording. And got a lot going on, a lot of changes that I had to make to be legal for Pikes Peak down the road. And then also a couple things that I wanted to do to improve the car as we're going along here. So I'm going to turn this camera around and we'll get started. All right, the shop is quite a bit of a mess, even more so than usual, because I have been basically scrambling just to get everything over here situated. Now, as you can see here, for those of you that have been following along with the channel, I got a whole new fuel system and a whole new fuel cell. Now, what I did is I got a 600 micro sprint tank and went with that because it has a bladder system that is certified and it's ready and it's legal for Pikes Peak and everything. Not to mention that it is a huge step forward in terms of the safety of this car. That bladder system is, it's built by the best people that are out there and certified by all the sanctioning bodies that you could ever ask for. but it is also really small, and I wanted something that would go under here. Now, a lot of people would be like, oh, why don't you just go with a regular sprint car fuel cell? Well, I could have. We call them tail tanks. So I went with a sprint car or a micro sprint tail tank because they offered an option that you could get to work with E85, and it's a lot harder to get something like that for a sprint car, not to mention the extra costs on that would have been double of this situation, and this actually has more than enough capacity for both Pikes Peak and anything else we'd like to do. And it's also, since it is smaller, I was able to mount it more forward than a regular sprint car tank, so the load is a little bit further back than what it was, but it is a lot more forward than what where it would be normally in a regular sprint car tank. But anyway, this is the fuel setup that I had to change over to, because this is, as you can see, a external fuel pump. The other one had an internal fuel pump. And I also have been making some brackets and stuff like that to get all this mounted up. Basically, the only thing I need now is I have another filter like this, but it'll be a pre-filter, and that will mount somewhere over here. Right now, I just kind of have this line that I had laying around that was left over from the other fuel cell, just kind of mocked into place, and eventually I'll use this same line to cut up and attach the new fuel filter before it goes into the pump. This is the post filter, and then this will run down and over to the engine. So when I got that fuel cell mounted up, I was able to move the cover back to where a stock tail tank would be in. So it's basically the same location, just a couple of inches higher than it would normally be. And then the other thing was, in doing so, I was able to cover the whole fuel system down here. So now it's protected by the firewall I'll have here, my seat, and then this rear end probably, it's also protected from that, so that it'll hit this bar before it hits the fuel system, which is important because all these AN fittings are strong, but they're not, indestructible by any means. So more to come on that. But anyway, the cover here is just one Zeus fastener, and that pops out of there. I'll put this down. This flips up just like that, kind of like it did before, and then we'll just stick our funnel. We'll pop this open, stick our funnel right down in there, and good to go. As you can see, for anybody that's familiar with traditional sprint cars, the bladders are usually black, and you can see inside this one, it's more of a white cloth type, and the other sprint car ones are more of a rubbery type. But they are not compatible, and I'm running E85, so this is the one that they told me I needed to get. All right, everybody, we're getting everything wrapped up and put into the trailer for our race at Pocono this weekend. I got the car pretty much dialed in, ready to go. Having a problem with the fuel system right now, so we're going to stop at Beaver Springs Dragway to see Mikey McCracken, get that dialed in. Just put a new fuel pump on and put the new fuel cell on, and went from an internal pump to an inline system, and I had to change a bunch of things. It's probably just something simple, but we're gonna do our best with it. So here's Mikey McCracken getting us dialed in up at Beaver Springs. Special thanks to him again. So we're gonna hop into our first run here. It's an untimed run, but it was our first and best complete run to date. And it ended up being our best run for the weekend, even though it was untimed. In terms of getting data and stuff like that, it was a very successful run, and the car worked pretty flawlessly. It wasn't until our next runs that we started to have some issues that we had to battle through.
Oh yeah. He said that this race he actually can be competitive.
Yes, I definitely screwed up there. I am definitely learning the car still, and that was me trying to downshift it, and not successfully.
Had a hard time with the downshift right there.
My buddy Alec coming to the rescue in 3, 2, 1.
Tire didn't look good. Huh? Left rear tire didn't look good. It was chattering because he missed it. It was downshift right. He just chatted it on the downshift.
So that's the end of our first run, going into our second run here, and this is where things get a little interesting. I have to apologize about the quality of the footage. The fence got in the way and made it very difficult to film anything, but my wife did her best, and I think despite the circumstances, she did really well.
Fuck.
So as you can see by the ball of fire and my wife's excitement, that we had some issues. What happened was a power steering line, which was supposed to be rated for what we were doing, it failed. And I at first thought it was, something that I had done, so we repaired it. Thank God I had my buddy Alec there to help. And we repaired it, put it back on the car, and then, went for a try at it.
It's going to be a little short. That worries me slightly.
Oh,
but
dude, I would cut off like a half an inch. Good. I didn't do too bad on So, if you listened through there, you probably heard some throttle modulation, and I was really just wanting to test out the steering a little bit before I hit the rest of that straightaway and make sure that I was good, but that was only temporary. So the second time that blew up, I said I'm not going to do that again and risk not only our car, but the quality of the track for all the other racers. So the first thing I did the next Monday was go out to a hydraulic shop and picked up a industrial version of the same line that will handle more than twice the amount of PSI that is required. And here's a picture of that. That is now on the car also, and the car is ready to race. And here's some really great shots that I bought off the photographers that support our events, and they are really, really good at what they do, and they offer their photographs and the rights to those photographs at a very reasonable price. And I encourage everybody to seek out the photographers that support their events and support them. They are the guys that put the butts in the seats, so to speak. So support them, and you'll ultimately it'll come back to you. Oh, hello there. We're back from the race. In fact, it's about a week later, exactly. And I'm just working on some things that we identified that needed improving. And hopefully we'll get these things fixed up pretty soon. And then I'll bring you guys up to speed on more of that. So please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.